Together is a feature directorial debut of one Michael Shanks, who also wrote the film, and it tells a story of a couple, Tim and Millie, who are struggling in their relationship, but they move into a new home. With their relationship being rocky already, supernatural forces occur, and they are becoming a lot closer than they anticipated. That being strange occurrences where their bodies are starting to fuse with each other, and they have to figure out why and how to stop it. I had a blast with this film. It was enjoyable all throughout. I was engaged from the very start, and there are lots of interesting twists and turns. And when I first saw the trailers, I was eager to figure out what was going on. Why are these people fusing with each other, and how is it going to play out? What I didn't expect, much like Bring Her Back, was there being an emotionally resonant story and core to this film, that being about relationships. Why do people feel trapped in a relationship? And are they able to feel like themselves, or do they just feel like they're trapped? And it brings a lot of interesting and brutally honest questions about relationships. And I feel like this is kind of the inverse of Materialists. That's what I was feeling while watching this film. It's just that it's a body horror instead. And I really dug this film. Dave Franco and Alison Brie play the main characters, and I think they have really strong chemistry with each other, as well as they both are able to sell these very confusing moments with each other as, oh my god, why is this happening? And these horrified moments when their bodies are fusing at certain moments. I think they play it really well. I totally dug them and bought them in these scenes. And when they had to be funny, they're funny. And it's not like they're cracking jokes every other minute, but they're able to take the shit out of this strange concept that's happening with each other and just being stuck in these strange and interesting moments. And it's not like we're laughing at the film like, haha, this is so stupid. No, it's edited in certain ways that, along with there just being a few funny lines here and there, it's edited in a way where we can laugh at some of these moments, and we're laughing with the film in these moments. Jermaine McMicking is the cinematographer for this film, and I think this is an excellent looking film. Great lighting. It's sharp and crisp. I say that about a lot of movies nowadays, but that's just the case when we have good cameras now. What's more interesting just about the look of the film is all of the weird and interesting angles, the framing of it all, how it tells so much in a single frame, how certain elements are brought back in later scenes, and just really good camera movements. It's just a really damn good looking film all throughout. And with this concept of body fusing and whatnot, these characters feeling magnetic towards each other or just in having a strong connection with each other, there's a lot of fun and interesting camera movements, especially involving the editing. And I just want to point out the editor, Sean Laheef. I think all of the aspects of writing, directing, cinematography, and editing all come together to make some really interesting and fun sequences with characters feeling magnetic or connected to each other, and the way the bodies move in these frames, and especially how we capture these frames, whether it be tight or we have wide shots of these characters and it amplifies and it shows how they're feeling, either distant or close to each other. And there's a lot of interesting and fun sequences where it plays around with that idea, and I think it just adds to the film and makes it a much more fun and enjoyable film. And that's not to say that this film has to be fun, and if it wasn't that, it's not good. And it's not to say that this is just a fun movie like Fantastic Four or Superman. Like, I had fun with those films. I had fun with the concept and the filmmaking. That's what I had fun with. And I was just invested because of the concept, because I was sold on the acting. It's just an all-around great film. Okay, I feel stupid. I just figured out that Dave Franco and Alison Brie are a married couple. That's why they work really well with each other. So I guess that's why they work really well on camera with each other, because they're married. More power to them, because they really sold them being a struggling couple. I just think that's really funny that they're a married couple and they're able to sell just absolutely loathing each other in certain scenes of this film. So, you know what? More power to them. Hopefully this made the relationship stronger. I don't know. I just feel stupid for not knowing that, because I just went in not knowing much about this except the one trailer I saw and people saying that it was good. The score is from Australian composer Colonel Wilczek, and I think the score is pretty good. There's a lot of sort of not dreary, but well, there are a lot of beautiful moments in the score and a lot of tense and horrifying moments, especially when we're getting into the horror and body horror esque stuff. But there's definitely a lot of beautiful pieces in the score that kind of reminded me of a specific piece at the end of the film Annihilation. I don't know, it just seemed interesting, sort of like a synth stuff going on. I really don't know how to explain music like that, but I thought it was used pretty effectively in these more romantic settings in the film. I think the film is paced pretty well. There didn't feel to be a lot of down moments or a lot of moments that just drag on. We get to the point pretty quickly. There are just a few moments that I thought were a little out of place. There is a moment in the beginning of the film that sets up this initial concept. A specific character returns later on in the film for a very brief moment, but I just thought that the dialogue from that character was just kind of strange and a little unnecessary for that character to come back, because although it foreshadows a certain event that happens later on in the film, I just felt that being brought up so abruptly to one of our main characters in the film was just kind of strange. I don't know. It just felt a little out of place. And there is a very brief moment where we are discussing the backstory of Tim, and it explains certain struggles he has with Allison, with being intimate with Allison, and it also gives us some insight into his character involving the weird concept stuff going on. But there's a very brief moment in the writing and dialogue that just felt a little off, and I wasn't quite sure what we were discussing at the moment until we see an image, until we see a flashback shot. And I don't know, the writing just felt a little strange in that moment. I was thinking, whoa, we just jumped to this all of a sudden. And I ended up getting it. I ended up getting the gist of what was happening later on. But it just felt like maybe it could have been written a little differently. But, you know, we were able to understand what happens because it is explained, but we just kind of abruptly just switched to this very specific thing happening in the film. Other than that, I thought this was a really damn good film. I really want to watch it again because it is rather interesting, and I do love the horror stuff. There is a lot of great special effects and makeup. Like, there's a great CGI and there's great practical things going on, and I don't want to say what it is, but when you see it, it is pretty damn cool and horrifying to say. But yeah, I had a good time with this. Go check this out if you're interested in body horror stuff. It's a pretty sweet film, and that's funny to say because of how horrifying it can be at times, but I do like how the film ended, and I was very eager to figure out how it was going to end, especially with a lot of revelations happening throughout the film. It took some twists and turns I didn't anticipate, but I'm glad to see how the film ended because I did find it rather sweet and interesting. I'm giving Together an A-. I really, really dug this film, and I'm sure a lot of people will. And there were quite a few people in my theater, so I'm happy about that. So, did you see Together? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Tell me what you thought about it in the comments below, and I'll be back with more enjoyable content like this. So yeah, bye.